show is Conversation, where we sit down, we speak, you listen. My name is Elizabeth, and one thing I know for sure is that I love to be happy. And my joy is doubled, my happiness is doubled, knowing that I'm sitting down here conversating and you are also there participating with your questions and your suggestions. That's double happiness for me. And today we'll be looking at what really determines happiness, what, kickstarts joy, what kickstarts happiness. When I say we, as usual, I am not alone. The camera will be expanding right now to showcase the rest of the people in the house. I have somebody I gladly want to introduce as our own in-house Minister for Happiness.
They call me Minister for Happiness. You call me Divamo.
All right.
I am Vanessa Ado, an educationist.
All right.
Chukuma Haka. I'm a business coach.
All right, Chukuma, somebody once wrote in and asked why you find so much joy sitting with us.
Let me keep quiet. But when you sit in the midst of beautiful women with open hearts, what else do you expect? Because I'm blessed among women. And at all times, I happen to have been a man who loved his mom so much, though she passed on when I was very young. And I see it in my son. Anytime, any day, he's always around his mom. Either he's cuddling his mom, he's doing this, he's doing that. I just tell my wife, no worry, that's me when I was young. So whenever I'm in the midst of women, it reminds me of my time with my mom, and I'm happier. So I'm glad to be in the midst of women always.
Thank you very much. Now, the topic today is what really informs happiness. What qualifies one to say, okay, this is what makes me happy. That it will be our thrust for discussion this day. But then, before we go into it completely, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say,
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes.
If she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
It's still conversation, and I did mention that we'll be looking at the meaning of happiness. Is it money? Is it your wife? Is it your children? Is it your health? I don't know. But I know one thing. I said it earlier, that speaking with you gives me joy. I don't know about our Minister for Happiness.
Well, that's actually a very good question. I remember there's a friend of mine who said that a person's happiness is considered complete when they have peace in their relationship, they have peace in their workplace relations and their career, they have peace in their pockets.
Peace in the pocket, right?
Yes, and they have peace with their God.
Ego.
And they have peace with their God and with their body. So she was talking about health, spirituality, a source of income, family relations,
career,
and
career.
I think I mentioned career. Anyway, she felt that it's a five-pronged thing. And when you have peace, when you have a sense of fulfillment in these 5 areas, your health, your spirituality, your career, your relationships, and your money, that is when you have a full, a full sense of happiness. And I think I agree.
You know, most of the holy books will tell us that we should have the mind of a child. You know, because in children, I see unending happiness. Even when you annoy them, somehow it fizzles away. You are a teacher. I don't know. Do you also perceive the same thing?
Yes. A child is angry, a child is crying, is screaming. You just spank the child and, mommy, I love you.
Oh, no.
Still get that, mommy, I love you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I love you too, you know. So yes, we actually, and the mind of a child is forgiving.
Yes.
And forgetful. It's actually very forgetful. They are playing, one pushes the other, he's crying, he's hurt. The moms go throwing banters at each other. Your child pushed my child, and then you turn and then they're playing.
The same people.
Yes, the same people you're fighting over, or you're actually exchanging blows or words over. So it has to do with a mind of forgiving. If you forgive easily, you won't have issues. Like my own personal experiences, if I have issues bothering me, I have this sharp pain here. It's very painful. Very painful.
This can I? You are not serious.
No, the way she was playing, I thought I was seeing it physically. I thought it was a kind of mole or something.
So, and then by the time I get to figure out what is wrong, the pain goes. So I think for me, it's around me being happy, being calm, not letting things bother me, and that's actually it. You know, so it's about having that mind of forgiving, forgetting. Yes, it's difficult to forget as adults because that will have to be like you're wiping the slate clean, which is actually very difficult. But if you can forgive and then walk towards the process of letting that go, letting that pain go, yeah.
You know, Chukuma, I want you to look at it from the angle of business because I know you're a business coach. And a lot of times I have been told by too many people, if you dash me 1 million naira now, you wipe
All
away
my
this-
problems are finished.
Honestly. Someone will tell you, my face that is wrinkled and all that, bring 10 million naira now. You wipe away the wrinkles and put a permanent laughing, you know. Does money really qualify for happiness?
I don't agree. No, it doesn't. If you ask me, I'll say happiness is personal.
It's personal. How?
There are people with billions, they're not happy. And there are people with 10 naira, they're happy. Happiness is what you design to be for yourself, not what comes in. A lot of times people think when money comes, everything will wipe off. When money comes, it comes with problem. It comes
Really?
with burdens.
Money is supposed to solve problems.
Nah. Money comes with problem. Money comes with challenges. Money comes with responsibility. Now, once you have 1 million, another problem you start thinking is, how will I make sure that this 1 million doesn't go? You now start seeing yourself, you won't be sleeping very well. You now start lying to some people. Now, when you begin to get some kind of lifestyle that is never part of what you used to be, what you never had, because you begin to ask yourself, how do I hide this 1 million naira from people around me so that they don't know I have this 1 million? So money comes with a lot of challenges. So whenever someone says it's money that makes them not to have, now have you forgotten that sometimes when money comes in, to some people, they begin to live irresponsible. Lifestyles that you never had in mind before, you see yourself trying to hang out with people you are not supposed to hang out with. If you used to come back home by 5 p.m., stay with family, hang out with your children, your spouse, you begin to stay out, begin to drink, and they ask you, say you want to make more money, you want to have more connect, want to have this, have that. Money comes with a lot of issues. But what I mean by happiness being personal is, with that money, you can also control yourself. You did mention the Holy Book. The Bible says that the only thing in the Bible that is equated with God in the Bible is money. So you cannot serve God and mammon. Money has influence.
Yeah.
Money has power. Money has a whole lot of things. But but God has given us that power within us to rule over money. And whenever you're able to bring the control of money underneath you, you have peace. And that is why it is personal. People get influenced with what they have. People think, haven't you seen that when a new phone or a new car is launched, everybody's eye goes in there? Once you have it, the next minute you're thinking of another one to get. You're not satisfied at any point in time. So that is what comes with money. So happiness is not in the things we see. Happiness is in what you have created within yourself.
If I may come in here, you know, there's this school of thought which, although you linked yours directly with money, but there's a school of thought that says that you must create your own happiness from within. Now, I have tried to make sense of it, but I have difficulty, and let me explain why. Let's say, for instance, a widow who has an only son, whom she has invested so much of her time, energy, resources into. You know, I specifically use the word son because, you know, in our cultural context, you know what that means. Now, this child decides to become wayward. He's constantly, from one secondary school to the other, he's being expelled, he's in drugs, he's verging on criminality, he's getting girls pregnant. If there's anything in the house, he's selling it off and things like that. How does a parent who find themselves in that kind of circumstance, you know such a woman would have wrapped her happiness around the success of that young man. How do you detach from that? This is your son. How do you detach from that and generate your own happiness, especially when that child is living with you? Each time the person messes up, people come looking for you and things like that. How do you divorce yourself from things like that and create your own happiness?
Okay. Much as I agree with you that it's a very difficult situation, but most times when the mother realizes that she has given her son the best she could give to that child, the life the child is living is for the child, not for herself.
You know, I quite agree with what he's saying, because even in biblical speaking or scriptural speaking, whatever book you're using, your life, you came alone and you go alone. The minute we understand that, it's easier for us to deal with those kind of situations. I mean, it's difficult. Even as I speak, if you were my child, I'll probably be hitting the roof. But then I'll quickly, it's easy to give advice than to take it on. But I'll try to give myself this advice. You came alone and you're going alone. Even if that child succeeds tomorrow, it's for him. You know, how many presidents, please, do you know the mother of, what's the American president? Do you know his mom?
Donald Trump? No?
I think the mom is dead, though. I
So,
think
but
both
do you
parents
even
have
know
passed
the
on.
mom? We
Yeah,
don't know.
because I saw her in a
So-
documentary recently.
So what I'm trying to say, a lot of governors, a lot of presidents, you know, I have never seen my president's mom. I'm not even sure I know her name, you know. So that, but she brought up this great man. They all brought up these great people. Their success is for themselves, you know. So, and if they had failed, their failure should also be for themselves.
It's not so much about feeding off of your child's success as your child being an instigator of lack of peace in your life.
No, I know about that, but then don't get it to the point where it becomes a sin on your own part, where it becomes unhealthy. Once, like he said, you've done your bit, I think it's okay.
Okay,
But
can I
moving
come
on
in?
from that-
Please, let me explain further. Most times, we, the parents, think no matter how our children have gone, that we still have a role to play in their lives. Now, that is something that is certain. But when we realize that at every point in time you have played your best role to a child, and the child takes a part he or she would want to take, you have done your best. My father told me of a story. It was just a general story he was telling us, but I took a serious lesson from it. He said his own father, that's my grandfather, told him that he is like a monkey that has his child on the back. What the child does when he's carrying the child on the back, he's not responsible for that. He has defined his happiness. He would do his best to carry the child on the back. That's giving the child all the care, all the concern, all the things that the child needs. Because when a man or a woman carries a child on the back, it's a burden so that he or she had decided to carry. But when you are being carried on this, when you are being given this care, and you decide to do whatever you want to do, my grandfather said, it is none of his business. Because you would not kill yourself for an adult decision. Most mothers have
I'm
this
still
challenge.
talking of minors, though.
Okay.
I'm not, I mean, to a certain degree, you can say, this person is an adult. I already did what I could while the person was a minor and so on. But the truth is this, because I'm a connoisseur, so to speak.
Sorry, when I said so, because a minor wouldn't impregnate a child, a woman.
No,
So that was what. No, that's
but
what
when I say minor, I mean less than 18.
Okay.
But that was still a
No. I mean in minor. Yeah, no, shut.
That's still a hypothetical scenario. It's not anybody's real life situation.
I know.
I'm just thinking of those things that would really make a parent lose peace. Now, the truth is, even like I said, I'm somebody who really likes documentaries, biopics, and so on and so forth. And I've noticed that even no matter how old a person is, if people feel that that person is slightly off tangent, they begin to question the parenting.
Which is wrong.
I don't know if it's wrong, but that's what happens. When this person was growing up, did the father do this? Did the mother do this? What could have been responsible for, from criminals to serial killers to certain presidents who people feel are not acting right and everything? At the end of the day, it still comes back to, was it because the father was like this? Was it the mother, because the mother used to say like this? And this person maybe is in his 70s, is in his... You understand? That conversation always comes up.
It always comes up.
Yes, that when this child was growing up, at least up until the age of 18, I think globally, you're responsible directly for your child.
Some will even tell you that the child didn't breastfeed properly.
You know, and things like that. All these kinds of things, you know. So it still comes back to, in the developmental years, did you fail as a parent? Now, the Bible tells us that train up a child in the way he should grow, and when he grows up, he shall not depart from it. So sometimes, even when in young adulthood children begin to act up, you keep hoping that, okay, when they attain full maturity, something about what you taught them will set in, will kick in, and, you know, realign
But
them.
it does happen.
You know,
Okay,
and sometimes it happens.
It does.
And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, you know, you could see a family where maybe 4 kids, everybody is proper, and then there is just this one person who, apart from family resemblance, you could swear that person was adopted because of, yes, you know, when everybody is saying black, the person is saying purple.
There's always a Ken in the house.
You know, there's, you know, and you begin to, you know, you're like, what went wrong? Who is this person? If not for the fact that it's his father's spitting image, you might think somebody played an away match somewhere, you know, and all this. So, for me, I just feel as if, not to restrict it to parenting, I just feel as if this whole thing of generate your own happiness is a very glib advice that does not quite interrogate the complexity of human nature. You, as a human being, you are not an island. You will definitely be affected by things that are happening around you. What of a woman who is in an abusive marriage? A man who is in an abusive marriage? It's even worse for men because they can't speak about it.
No, there was one I saw recently. The man was, you know, celebrating, even though he said he didn't know where to go to and stuff like that. But he was celebrating and taking pictures of his a goose, his you know, cargo, so to speak. It was Ghana must go by.
Okay, his property.
Property, yes. He was saying, look at my property. I've collected.
His wife had kicked him out. Or
yes, I am happy. I'm free now. I'm free now.
Divorce, okay.
You know, I'm tired of being a slave in my own house. I pay mortgage. I do everything. I clean house. They will still be slapping me. She will still do this, do that. You know, so I was amazed because I said, this man, you could see joy. He said, thank God I'm a free person now. But still not moving off the topic, determining happiness. I still want to stress the point of money because that happened to be the issue. Some people take up career because they tell you there's
it
money in
pays
this
well.
job. Is that why you went into teaching?
For me, growing up, my dad has a different opinion of what I do completely up to this point. I wanted something that I could have freedom. One, I wouldn't have to go do something nasty for promotion. I won't have to go do something nasty to be recognized. I won't have to go do, and by nasty, I'm sure you have the idea. I won't have to go do all those very, very funny things. And then I prayed for a job that would give me the ability to express myself freely and all. Now, teaching is actually a very noble profession, which, for me, if you ask me, I think we're the best. For us to have the knowledge to be able to impact into somebody else, for me, there's nobody that cannot boast of being who he is or who she is today without a teacher. And we are not acknowledged enough. We are not.
That's true.
We are not paid enough. We're not seen enough. Nobody even wants to. Nobody sees us. But for me, it gives me joy. The fact that I wake up every day and I know that, okay, I need to read, to expand my scope of knowledge, because I know that there are this group of people somewhere that are waiting for me to come and tell them something, and I need to tell them the right thing. She talked about formative years. If you do something wrong, or say something wrong at the beginning, it's going to go a whole long way. It's going to go. So for me, it to be very honest, it doesn't pay. My bills are way more than what I receive at the end of the month.
But you still have joy.
But I still have that joy. That's one. Secondly, it's still, I don't know how, but I take care of myself. It takes care of me and whatever it needs to take care of. And I think at the end of the day, I'm happy.
You know,
I'm really happy.
Okay, can I add to what she said? I've met teachers who draw happiness in their students.
Yes.
That as the students are doing very well, the teachers are happy. And I've come to see it in real life that most times when we gather together and our teacher comes, the way we respect our teacher, the way we honor them shows, and you see them smiling.
Because they're like pseudo-parents.
Yes. They're like, my children have all grown. See how well you're doing. See how well. See this, see this. So you see that most times the satisfaction you're looking for in money, they see in the duty. In the tangible things that they planted in these kids, then kids, now men or women, but have now become productive.
Right. We teachers, like you mentioned, they bring the greatest joy. And I happen to have been born and trained by a teacher, my mom. And I know that even as she's no longer alive, some of her students still favor me one way or the other, because they believe that they couldn't have been who they were without my parents. So the joy, even in her grave, I don't know if people in the grave hear and see. I'm sure in the graveyard where she's lying, she is still receiving the joy. We're going to quickly take a break. When we come back, I'll share a personal experience about money and happiness.
Have you ever wondered why some men cannot finish using the towel and just hang it back somewhere in the bathroom? Why would they have to throw it on the bed? Little things like that I put off.
Have you ever wondered why a grown man with a wife and kids will go to the toilet, the lavatory, to ease himself, to do number one, to pee, right? He takes the seat up, flips out that thing. The moment he starts peeing, he flushes the toilet, right? The toilet does its own bit. The flushing is done before the pee is done. And so 10 liters of water is wasted. The pee is still there.
Oh my goodness.
He doesn't put the seat back down. He doesn't reflush. He doesn't wash his hands. He walks away.
That's why I don't like shaking men, by the way.
There's a particular thing we know many men to be very, very guilty of, and that's throwing their shoes and stockings all over. Maybe men are going to be better, not throwing it around, but they can there's just some that have those smelly feet and keep it for you in the living room. Women don't like it.
The show is still conversation. If you're just joining us, half leg is gone. This is the second part, and I did promise that I was going to share experience. Now, I had a job before I joined NTA, and somewhere too along the line, I also got another job. Somehow, these jobs were paying real good money. Real good money. One of them I did for 7 months, and I don't want to call the money, but it was paying real good money. The first 1 month, I enjoyed the glamour that came with it. Second month, I enjoyed. The third month, it was dwindling. You know, I woke up each day to go to work and my spirit was low. I found myself losing weight without dieting, without going to the gym. I was not happy. I tried to ask myself why. You know how you wake up, physically speaking, my temperature would be high because I felt my stress level had gone up. Eventually, when I went to check, I went to check for 1 month consistently. My BP was going like that. I was not happy, and I told myself, this is time to go back. The stupid thing about it is that people who were around me knew I was making extra money. So my dependents shut up. People didn't know I was slaving myself. People didn't know I was dying on the inside. People didn't know I was not happy. It was always give me, give me, give me. And I was slaving myself and giving. Incidentally, the day I said I no do again, threw in the towel, everybody thought I was an idiot. You know? And then the money wasn't coming again. Those I couldn't give, now thought, okay, she's selfish. I still stand to be corrected that money can never buy you happiness.
It can't.
It can never buy you happiness. Unless maybe you think I'm talking
Well,
You,
okay, do and go.
you see, the tragedy of it is this. If you're unlucky, sometimes you're surrounded by people that have a very strong entitlement mentality.
Oh, sure.
Either because they're your friend from when you didn't have, they're your blood relation, they're your what, this, that, and the other. Cousin, this, that. They're usually people who feel you owe them. Because at a point in your life when things were not okay for you, they were by you. Sometimes it can even be a spouse. But you owe your spouse. You owe your children. You owe possibly your parents. The rest of the people, if they are not incapacitated, you don't really owe them per se. However, sometimes you are struggling. People don't know that there are people out there who are living a flashy life because they are trying to project a certain image. I don't fall into that thing, but I know that there are many people who are in that trap. There are people who are owing banks big money. You will never know because of that palatial house they are staying inside. That's probably mortgaged to the hilt. There are people who collected loans and started businesses that flopped. You will not know. You want people to sit you down and tell you their life story with money before you can understand that the reason they didn't send you that 5,000 wasn't because they are trying to be cruel. It was because in that moment they could not spare it. Especially when you have children to worry about. Your children are your first priority because they're not going anywhere to go and get anything from anybody.
Exactly.
So if you're not yet done with your kids, if you're not yet done with your elderly parents, if your spouse is not yet well settled, who is that other person that you're trying to do what for? You understand? But majority of the people out there don't know this.
So,
especially
but
those...
The question is, if we have bigger paying job, does it also mean bigger paying happiness?
No, it means more responsibilities.
responsibility.
Was it you that
Yes.
said
More
So
entitlement,
more trouble.
more trouble.
more
yes.
trouble?
And especially sometimes is it going by what she said. Most times these people sit down to stay in their homes to calculate how much they assume you are earning and how much you should be spending for them and how much they think you should be giving them. In most times somebody will hear this is how much this person is earning and they feel like the whole money comes to you. They don't know that there are things called tax and this deductibles in the office. And like she said, most times these guys don't know that the total that they have heard that you earn might not be the net that you receive. And they do the calculations and give to you. But the point here is this: you are not living for anybody.
That's the truth.
You should not live for anybody. I did once have a message and I responded to the person. I have responsibilities. And my responsibilities I have to
Wicked Mr.
fulfill it.
Chukuma.
When I finish it, if I have, when I have spares, I could give. But I am not under obligation to respond.
Wicked Mr. Chukuma.
And I don't care how you say it.
Why do you call him wicked, Mr. Chukwuma?
That's you sent me that message.
The truth is this. The truth is this. When things go bad, I had a chat. Someone called me. I was discussing, and I lost it. And I asked the person, "Who do you think I should talk to when I have my own problem?"
Yeah.
I've ever asked who I run to. Do you think I don't have problem? I've ever asked who I speak to when I have my own problem. Everyone, including the richest man on earth, has problem. And there are times he will be out of money and he wants someone to speak to. The fact that people do not share their burdens
doesn't mean they don't have.
Everyone has one or two problems going around in their heads. And you see people having this entitlement mentality, thinking that they should deserve this, whereas they've not even bothered to know how you are doing. Some people wake up in the morning and they'll give you a text message. My cousin said that one of the times, one person gave a text message to one of our cousins, and he gave the money. Anytime this guy is always asking him money. So out of anger, the guy picked phone and said, "Why are you always giving me message?" He said, "I give you this message because you're the only one I give message and he gives to me." There was a friend of ours one time, what was doing was, in every month, he will get up a message and share it amongst his friends. "Please, I have need 10,000 naira." And he will share the same message to almost 20 of us.
And everybody will send 10,000.
And one or two people will send it.
So he sent it the first one, I responded. Sent the second one, I responded. The third one, I called our mutual friend. I said, "What is wrong with this guy? Is he okay?" He said, "Oh, that this guy you're talking about did so and so birthday for his wife last month." I said, "What?" So he collected our money to do beautiful birthday for his wife. So most times what you see as a demand from people might not be only you. It goes around everyone. So when they collect it, they go and live the kind of life they want to live. So I bother myself less. I do what I think is necessary. But the rest, I can't kill myself for anyone.
You can't come and kill yourself and die.
Honestly,
on top of it,
you know, the worst is if you grew up maybe in a particular locality, then you move on to a place they think is better. I don't think it's better.
Abroad.
The people you were there, I don't want to call this.
It doesn't have to be abroad. You could be from.
You can move from Boko to Makurdi
to Abuja, and then all of a sudden
your friends there.
Our case
When I start telling Shebi, you don't go there, you forget
money.
us. They do not understand that the mere fact that you're relocating is a problem. And probably if you're a civil servant, the salary you're getting in that local place is the same salary you're going to get in Abuja.
No change.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the cost of living here is
Exactly.
higher. So you find out that you don't even have money.
Not have more.
And what will tell you if
I'm
you
a
have
witness.
capacity to go to Bendam Boutique, buy your clothes in OK, try to clean them up very well, iron it, and wear. You are a big girl.
That's not the only word beside you. And your office, you are entitled to a car, and they give you a car.
I say I am a weakness here.
You're a witness. Please share your story.
First, I got my job. First post in Akure. Small town. Cost of living low. Accommodation, feeding, everything. Then I now got transferred to Abuja. Hey.
Your family members, your friends, they all went to do Thanksgiving for you.
It is even me. My own problem has doubled on top of the same salary I was collecting there. So, now, here, the distance I have to drive, the transportation I have to do, the accommodation, the feeding is all right, no wahala. But the accommodation, the movement, the salon, the tailor, everything has
and it's still
gone on
salary.
top, and it's still the same salary. And then our own case is so bad, civil servant, they will publish it. So everybody knows how much is being collected. And just like you said, by the time they do all the deductions, they won't tell you the one that is coming to us again, no. They only tell you the one that is. Do you understand? So it's assumed to be coming, and then everybody dwells on that part of it. So when somebody called me, I laughed. I said, "Do you know, as I'm sitting here, I don't have the 1,000 naira." I said, "How now? It's not possible." What I do with your salary was the next question. I said, I'm going to the salary finished before you entered. It's not my fault.
There was a time in Abuja when I was earning my salary for my landlord now. That
one
normal.
is a steady
That's
thing
normal.
for Abuja.
As you are collecting your salary, as if you are responsible, as you brought out food money, transport,
Rent.
You start saving small. It's not as if it will be enough when it's time to pay the rent. That at least you will have enough to tell the guy, please be patient, hold this one first. I'm still looking for the other one to come and add. Because when you tell people my rent is 450,000, they think you have swimming pool. You understand? They think you have a butler. They don't know that it's room and parlor. That if you are lucky, and this one I'm talking is 7-8 years ago. I don't even know what it is now because now I don't stay in room and parlor.
Anyway,
and that's Abuja for you. And how much is the salary? Maybe you might be earning 80,000, 120. How much are you going to put together every month before you eventually put together 600 or 700 to pay for one room? You are not going to feed. You are not going to transport yourselves. You are not going to change your clothing.
If you have children,
I'm even talking of
what I'm talking about is because I'm alone.
I'm talking
It's
of
just
singles.
Now, my thing is, I still want us to get to a point where we say, okay, this is the point where I am happy. And I still want to tie to the mentality of money and happiness, which is the reason why I have noticed some people switching jobs. I have asked people, somebody have actually asked me, when are you going to find another job? When are you going to do this? You know? And I said, I am complete where I am. I may not have millions, but I don't think I'm lacking. You know? I am happy. The primary thing is I have the inner joy. I look forward to waking up every day and coming to do my work. And somehow, like you said, I may not satisfy all needs, but I haven't gotten to a point where I'm beginning to owe, or people are calling police for me. I have always managed, you know. So, but I see some people, they work here 2 years, they jump out. There's a greener pasture elsewhere. Another 2 years, they jump to the other side. Would those jumping up and down give you the totality of happiness we desire?
You know, at a point I was guilty of that.
You too.
I've jumped jobs.
You know, I served with NTA and was retained. So I worked with NTA for 12 years. Then I left for an international organization. I spent 3 years there. But in fairness to me, these other places were not civil service kind of place where, you know, you can just go there and fall asleep and work for 35 years. These were jobs that were project-based, and every project has a lifespan. So there was also that too. So whenever I think like, okay, like there's like 18 months, a year, you know, I'd start sending out my application so that I'm not left hanging high and dry. But I found myself at a point in my life, I went from a DFID funded project to a USAID funded project. Then I came back to Abuja and worked as the pioneer manager of a small NGO. Then I left there and worked on a World Bank assisted project, you know, and all this. And it's kind of a trade-off. I grew in different ways when I left the NTA. And but one thing I can say, of all these places, the place that paid the best was the startup NGO. The salary was the best I had. Incidentally, it was a local NGO. Salary was very good. But the one place that I had a sense of belonging, camaraderie, friendship, genuine friendship, family and everything was NTA. There's this very informal atmosphere. It's not stiff. Work and play. It's a gray area, because if you take this work too seriously, you'll sleep one night and you'll not wake up.
Okay. You die young.
So in the middle of editing and everything, you're exchanging banter with your editor, you're insulting each other, idiot, get away from me. You know, after a while, everybody is just everybody's friend. You're playing and everything to make the work easier. Yet NTA was also the least paying.
Okay. So, what I'm going to tell our viewers is this, and I tell this every day. I'm sure if my colleagues are watching, they will also acknowledge this. The workplace is the place we spend most of our
working lives.
Active lives.
Yes.
Not working lives alone. Active lives. You get employed at your prime. You just got out from school. At the time you're about to enjoy your life, you get in there. You leave your house very early in the morning. You get to the house very late or early evening, and you are tired. You spend little time before you know you're in bed. The next morning you are out.
Exactly.
Now, I always advise people that leave money aside. Live your life while you work. Get the life. It mustn't be a place where you come, you're all serious, people are talking, you're giving query, you're shouting. You are finishing your life, because at the time by the time you think you're leaving the place, you've left at the time of, you're moving to the age lifestyle that you wouldn't even have the opportunity of doing those things you've missed out. So it is the time to, money is important. I remember starting my career. One of the things I did was I defined myself and I told them that mine is whoever pays me bigger. Going for the highest bidder. So I worked the first place 6 months. I moved into the next place. The next place I worked 1 year and 6 months. 1 year and 6 months I moved to another. I was just jumping because people were paying me higher. But at the point I realized it wasn't. I got into a job, I took a pay cut because I got into the place and I saw an environment I loved so very much. And I started to stay. Now, you get into a place, you get into a time in your life, money is no longer the deciding factor.
Peace.
What begins to matter in your life is the peace of mind you get from the environment. And what I tell people, no matter how big they pay you in an environment, if you don't have the peace of mind, you are wasting your life. Don't go for the money, go for the peace of, because if you get the money and you go home, you're not sleeping well. The person that has paid you the money is living his life. They are living their life, and you are there carrying huge sums of money in your account. But the life, money is not life.
That money you're carrying into your account, you're actually carrying money for other people. Go ahead.
Money is not life. So when you don't find peace of mind, create it.
Let me quickly chip in. I was going to say, whether we like it or not, money plays a huge factor. It does, whether we like it or not. Now, we are talking about ourselves right now. We're talking about personally. For me, personally, it's not really the money. It's like you try to fizzle out. It's me creating my own happiness. But the truth is, inside this creating my own happiness, I cannot exclude money. Because if my bill is hanging, I'm not going to be happy. And how do I sort out my bills? Money.
Okay, can I speak to you as a business coach?
Okay.
Now, when you get into a bill that you can't fund, you are living above your end.
Drop down. That's what I was
You're living
say.
above what you're earning.
Yes.
Cut your coat according to your clothes.
So what if you're unemployed?
If you're unemployed, have been unemployed.
Train on something.
Now, I was just speaking to someone. It's a story I've always repeated time and again. If I tell you that sitting here I've hawked bread, would you believe it?
I want to buy bread.
Yeah, my wife and I, at the point she told me, no, don't. Sit in the car, let me be, as in, when I tell you hawked bread, this was 2009. 2008, 2009. I was out of job, and I didn't want anybody, my family didn't know I was out of job. So the little money we had to start doing, we go to Enugu, we're living nowhere, buy bread, use my car to sell it. In fact, one of the times where my wife was selling bread, the police lady slapped her. She did nothing. So most times people don't tell you what they have all passed through. What I did was I ensured that our living standard maintained what we could afford at that time. And what gave me motivation? I told myself that wherever there is a crowd, people always eat bread, because the cheapest bread people eat in homes is, the cheapest food rather, is tea. And people either 10 naira or 20 naira or akara, this bean cake. Those things people look outside. People think that the only thing that gives money is when you are earning high. The other day I wanted to buy pallets for my office. I couldn't get pallets. And when I was driving with the engineer, I told him that this is another business opportunity. That if it could take me much to buy, because all the searches I did gave me Lagos. I said, people are looking for pallets, but people are directing them to Lagos.
What is pallet?
That thing that you keep on the floor, and you have it's a kind of a casing, either it's plastic or wood. And before you keep either water or keep something, you have to keep it on the floor so that,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking for it. It wasn't Abuja. And I told the guy, this is money. So most times when you see that, when people tell me I can't pay my bills, watch your bills.
You know what?
Watch your
I
bills.
completely agree with you, because there are a lot of times again when you have been earning high, suddenly there is a cut somewhere. Maybe during this COVID period, a lot of people's salary were cut and all that. If you were used to buying one full chicken for a pot of food, why don't you buy the same one and spread it for 2 weeks? You know, cut it.
Chicken.
No, I'm just saying, if you're used to eating, you know, 5 times a day, most people still do that. They snack in between meals. Why don't you eat your breakfast, have a leftover out of it, and snack on that? You know, if your child were schooling in maybe a 1 million naira a month school, bring the child to 100,000.
Of course.
It's a question of it's your mindset.
Listen.
If you are used to going to shopping, you're trying to say, okay, my
We
child.
try to impress people.
Thank you. That's the
We're
word.
trying to. I'm trying to be good, to come and look good, because the next person seeing me should look that to see I look good.
I always tell people that, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. You were in the last show here. You were here.
Yes, I was.
What were you wearing? What did you put on?
Can you remember?
So sometimes we don't even remember what we put on.
I can't remember what I wore yesterday. You give me 5 minutes.
We kill ourselves. Have you ever seen people who try to dress up? I'll kill them.
I will
The
show
next 2
them.
days,
Pepper them gun.
people don't remember what you wore, and you borrow money.
What are
You
you
borrow money
saying?
to impress people who don't know you exist. People live lives
True.
for people who do not even know that they exist, and they think they are preparing people. And in trying to impress people, you live in debt. You live above your income. You live a lifestyle that does not even match up to...
You're not happy.
You're not
So
happy.
marriages, the people are getting married. They are taking loans to do wedding. And I asked them,
to make
I said,
us-
"No, I'm
to
going
cook
have
for people to
I'm
come
going
and
to have like 20
eat."
caterers. I'm going to have the biggest person in town to design my wedding gown. They buy wedding gown for 10 million. They do a haul for 50 million. And I ask a simple question. Please, you had people like 1,500 people in attendance. Did you know all of them? There are some people that would attend your wedding today.
It has to be an
Tomorrow,
ovation.
less than 24 hours after, they pass you, they don't know it's you. But they came for your wedding. Why do you need all that crowd? Take 50, take 100 people that are your close friends and relations. Stay in a small gathering and enjoy your wedding.
Do you
I
know the
remember
other
your
day-
wedding. I enjoyed the pics, even though you didn't invite me. It was quite small.
It was very small,
That's
actually.
all I want.
We were not more than 15 people. Had it not been a destination wedding, I don't think we would have spent more than 300,000 or 400,000. That's the truth. But the other day I was talking on Facebook and I said, listen, from traditional, because us Christians, we ordinarily have 3 marriages. From traditional
Court,
to the
then
court to the
church.
church. If you are serious that you really want to marry, there's nothing on the face of this planet that stops you from wrapping that whole package inside 500,000.
You're right.
People were telling me, bride price, did one thing. I said, see, I don't know what happens in your culture. In my culture, you don't finish paying bride price.
It's
On
even a
that day,
crime.
they told my husband to come and pay 1
My
point,
bride
how
price,
many
my
million
bride
now?
price is 7 naira.
No, wait.
7 good naira.
My parents are both dead. So when it was just my uncles in the village, he said my husband should bring 1.5 million. I have a bachelor's degree. I've been working for. They were dragging the thing left, right, and center. And I called the eldest one aside. I whispered to him. I said, "See, I'll leave you people here and go to Abuja and go and do registry marriage, and the whole thing will end. Finish this thing now. Let me go." So after talking, they scratched their head and came down to less than a fraction of that 1.5 million. So now we're talking. See, bring 30,000 out of that money inside your pocket. Keep it aside. We'll be bringing out small again if they're asking for any. Give them this one. they gave. No, you have to take charge of some of these things.
Of course.
I say give them this one first. You did not bring the money for the women that are tying wrappers. Say add 5,000. You did not put another 5,000. I still have that place. 20,000 naira change.
There's a saying in my
You understand?
place. One man, you should know the story. One son-in-law went for burial. The whole burial, 1,000. He brought out 1,000, drop it. And our son-in-law, and the cloth for the tea, remove her inside.
Yeah, so-
And the goat for the remove her inside. 1,000. The cow for the remove her inside. In my language say duke. He duke.
So at the end of the day, the whole event and everything, burial, I tell 1,000. So, like she said, you can't finish paying.
You don't finish paying.
You will finish, the moment you finish paying, they will never come to you. The day they will come to you, I finished it that time, so you should go and take from me. So you can't finish. So you can actually do as small as 5 naira.
One of the things
we put these burdens on ourselves.
One of the things I do about myself is that I live for the moment. Anybody that knows me will tell you, I live for the moment.
And which is
there was a
best.
time, you know, this China phone, the Techno, the first Techno phone that when it's ringing now, you will hear the
you hear the echo.
I had the phone, and it was my best phone.
Until my husband got himself involved in buying phone for me, I was loyal to my Techno.
Please, do you know that time was when BlackBerry came out. I couldn't afford BlackBerry, and people were flaunting that. If you come and tell you, see, this is my phone, this is the best. And if you see me talking about that my phone, you begin to ask yourself, is it about this phone? What is so strange about it? Because
when they ring,
going to look into what you are having, and I wasn't going to kill myself for what you are having until I graduated to the point of buying BlackBerry. Every time you jump up, you will definitely come down.
Now BlackBerry is gone.
But if you grow up, whenever you grow up, you remain up. But if you jump, people, you see students carrying 2 phones. One student once came asking for money, and I asked, "What are you doing with 2 phones?" He said, "You don't." I said, "You don't have problem yet." He said, "What?" I said, "You don't have problem. Go and sell one of these phones. When you sell one and solve that problem, then you come back. You can't be having 2 phones and you're saying you have problem of 20,000 naira."
Me that I'm very forgetful self. My trademark that I carry 2 phones. You know, before the double SIM thing started happening, if I carry 2 phones, guaranteed I'm leaving the 2 of them inside the taxi as I get out. Guaranteed. I lost phones until it became my middle name. So, you know, because I was constantly losing phones, I'd buy phones that if you lost self, you no go pay me too much, you know, as long. So the first time I carried a BlackBerry in my hand, it was my husband that bought for me. And once BlackBerry got phased out, I was gravitating between Techno, Infinix, happily and everything. So the first time I held iPhone in my hand, it was my husband again. And I held on to my iPhone diligently as people were changing it and upgrading. Not until my Facebook started hanging inside the thing. I said, what do I need to do? The man ran and went and brought the new version of iPhone because he knows if he leaves me alone, the next thing now he see me with Infinix. I don't mind.
So anyway, we'll just wrap it up. If I haven't picked anything, it's the fact that almost all of us agree to a certain degree, it varies, that we don't need money to be happy. But then there is a level.
You do need money to live.
We need money to live.
Yeah. Actually, yes.
We need money to live.
Yes, that's the definition.
I wish everyone can just take home that message. It's been nice speaking and hearing from you,
Minister
Devon.
of Happiness.
Okay, Minister of Happiness. And do I give you Minister?
Assistant Minister.
Okay, Assistant.
No, Minister of State.
No,
Minister of State for Happiness.
Happiness, okay.
And?
I'm still a business coach.
Permanent Secretary of Happiness.
Permanent Secretary of Happiness. You cannot not.
And on behalf of the coordinator,
So
we must ensure that we stay happy because that's the only way you can add, more to your life, add more meaning. It's what you eat that you go with. Don't forget that. And if you're happy on the inside, you transmit it. Exactly. Just like we're happy, we're transmitting to you. Whatever you do, I always say, stay good Nigerian, be good.